Like I said, this is Michelle Colby. I want to go ahead and take my storyline forward with Colby D Mitchell because I want people to know what type of man that he was, what type of monster we're dealing with here. I want to tell people today about the verbal abuse that I suffered, domestic violence, harassment from Colby D Mitchell, um, threats, everything he did to me, and that relationship was traumatized because I am a woman. I am coming out of a domestic violence situation of 11 years where I have restraining orders on men. And being that Colby D was a pastor, I never expect that he would, do that to me, Michelle Colby. He would, the woman that he was talk so nice on the phone when we first met. And I also want to mention to you guys, I think what people were shocked, and I was most shocked that I was dealing with a man who I liked it, who did not disclose he was bisexual, that he was into men. So I'm just thanking God that I didn't have to go through that because I really do think if I would have, been with Colby D longer, I would have really been hurted because that's a hurting thing for anyone to go through. And he knows what he's doing. This is supposed to be a man of God. He's supposed to love, respect, and you know, especially to women. I could not believe that Colby D Mitchell verbally abused me and put me through domestic violence. And then people laugh as if this is not real enough. Like this is not real. I came before the sex tape. I came to Facebook before the sex tape to let them know what type of man he was. Yes, I would clown and joke, but in reality, I was trying to laugh it off that, really, okay, this is not happening to me. This is really a joke. But back to what I was saying. Okay, so after Facebook, that live, Kobe D called me 40 to 60 times. He kept calling me. Excuse the language. He cursed me out to my phone, said, bitch, hoe, fuck you, bitch, go find another man, bitch, I thought I beat you, bitch, I thought I was your husband, bitch. You know, those type of verbal abuse, I've been through that. And that really didn't put fear in me because at that point I was thinking, okay, he's mad, he's upset, this is what a man does. But I'm like, okay, well, why is a man of God doing this to me? Why is he cursing? Because I thought a man of God don't curse. He don't use profanity. He don't curse women. He had the right to be hurt, but he didn't have the right to call me those words. He did not have the right. Because then when I first went live, everybody who was on that live, they could tell you that I did not. I said some things about him. I said the things that I heard, and then I turned it into a joking matter. But when I told him that I was leaving him, that's when it became more of a threat, more of a dangerous situation. He called my phone that night till 4 in the morning. I mean, he did not want to sleep. It was on his mind that, yeah, bitch, yeah, ho, bitch, fuck you, ho, what you gonna do? Bitch, what you gonna do? I said, Kobe D, please stop calling me by my name. The exact words he said, bitches, what you gonna do, ho? Ho, what you gonna do? And so from that day, I took a step back. Like I said, me and his cousin talked about how we could, excuse the feud. The whole time he was telling her, oh, I want her arrested. I want her in jail. And I'm like, why do you want to put me in jail for going to tell people the truth that we was in a relationship, that, this happened, that she was, talking to, how can you talk to a woman for number one, and then you be in a relationship talking to all kind of other people? I mean, he could have did that at that time, but at the same time, don't lie to me. Don't play with my feelings, and don't play with God, because that's one thing I won't stand for. So I was starting to believe and trying to tell people that Kobe D is not who you think he are. He's a monster. He need help. He need reality checks. The threats, it wasn't to the point that I got very afraid for my life is when he started going on Facebook Live. And the first time after he came back with a video, he went live the same nights after I went live. And everybody was like, who's Michelle Colby? Who's Michelle Colby? Colby talked about this woman who was, came out, and he did not talk about me. He did not say anything. He looked at it as it was a nothing. But he knew I was watching. So he said, yeah, you want to get your guns, because on my Facebook page, he know I had guns. I carry a gun because I've been through domestic violence. He said, yeah, you got to get a hammer and hit the devil in the head with a hammer. And he was like, the devil came from me, calling me the devil. He called me Jezebel. He called me an evil spirit, a demonic spirit. If I call him, he called me Jezebel. Get off my line. A dynamic spirit. He also said, you want to get your car and roll over people. Never once did I say I was going to hit anyone with my car, and I've never said I was going to kill anyone. But it wasn't to the point where he started making threats to me about you got to hit the devil in the head with a hammer. And I know he has used these lines before, but that night he kept saying it multiple times after he said the devil came from me and you have to hit the devil in the head with a hammer. And he was talking about me. Also, he went on to make threats to me through the phone, just telling me, bitch, whore, and bitch, do what you want to do, bitch, leave. Them men not gonna want you, they're not gonna love you, they're not gonna want you, putting me down, insulting me, making threats to hit me in the head with a hammer. I think it got scary at that point because I knew that something was wrong with him. Something is wrong with a person that wants to hit someone in the head with a hammer, especially a pastor. People look at it that it was funny, but that was not funny at all for Colby D to get on live and say that. I also talked about my dead grandfather. He talked about my dead mother. He talked about, he said, you want to cry for God when your mama died, when your grandpa died, when your sister died. He went on my Facebook page and he know I talked about me missing my sister and my grandpa and my mother a lot because I'm grieving. And he took that and he used it against me on live. And everybody, did not know who he was talking about. But when people would say my name or bring up to him, he would get very angry. He would say things like he's sick of the devil. He's sick and tired of the devil. And he just mocked me. And I think when I got very afraid of him, was after he said he would hit the devil in the head with a hammer, and I knew that I could not no longer go around Colby D. That I really needed to stay from around him. Even though we was doing our little separation period, he still was going on multiple pages talking about me, how a woman is being unfaithful to her husband, how a man is being unfaithful to his wife, just talking very different things, but throwing it at people. This is what Colby D does. I don't know if he's mentally ill, but people who come in his everyday life, he will actually go back on live and talk about each one of those people, even children. He have talked about that people need to put their children in order, but he was just on live with these kids playing and stuff like that. Colby D don't see nobody doing wrong. In his eyes, he don't do no wrong. Everybody around him does wrong. But it got to the point to where after I had those threats of bitches and hoes and he wouldn't stop calling, I had to go ahead and call a counselor to have her confirm was I dealing with another domestic violence situation. And she said, yes, you definitely need to put a restraining order on Colby D because he had stated that he was going to come to my house, that he was going to come to my house and he was going to do some things to me, like hit me in the head with a hammer. And they have one woman commented. I do have this post. I had screenshotted. She said, well, this woman keeps saying that you domestically abuse her. So I guess that's where it's going to lead at. You're going to hit her in the head with a hammer. For a man to say that is like killing someone. Because if you hit someone in the head with a hammer, they will die. They will not live. And so that at that point, I talked to someone. I kept quiet. I just continued to take the hurt. He would post multiple times he's in and out of relationship after he talked to me. He would go post he just got married. He would tell me, I don't want to talk to you. I hate you. Drop dead. I would call him just to talk to him and see what, I admit I kept calling because I kept holding on because it's hard for a woman to leave a man, even though he's abusing her verbally, mentally, domestic violence is real. And it's hard for an abuser to leave a man. It actually, made me want to know why he was doing that to me. And it just went on from there. And I want people to know that Colby D really did verbally abuse me. And he's a monster. He's not a man of God. He is just a horrible monster.